this level of use of force in the USA is worrying, to put it that way.
Germany has issued a formal travel warning for its citizens traveling to the United States, citing growing risks linked to immigration enforcement operations and public order disturbances. In an advisory released Tuesday, Germany's Federal Foreign Office warned that demonstrations in Minneapolis and other U.S. cities have, at times, escalated into violent clashes with American migration and security authorities. German officials stressed the advisory is not a political statement against the United States, but rather a precautionary measure aimed at providing impartial safety information. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz addressed the situation directly, calling the recent developments worrying.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the press conference on the occasion of the North Sea Summit with the Federal Chancellor and the Danish Prime Minister.
Would you just like to know that although President Macron and Prime Minister Starmer, as well as
about the events in Minnesota, think
there are indeed many Europeans who are shocked by what happened there.
An American.
One question here today. Thank you for your support to Greenland and the Kingdom of Denmark.
I assume that the American authorities are now really investigating whether it was necessary to shoot here. Whether there was truly a threat to the officers involved. In any case, I have to say that this level of use of force in the USA is worrying, to put it that way.
We have one last request to make, dear signatories. In front of you.
Now, please allow me to follow up on what you just said about, our announcement on the energy island.
The warning comes as President Donald Trump's administration intensifies its aggressive deportation drive, triggering protests and confrontations in multiple cities.
Such dangerous rhetoric, as I pointed out, is exactly what has brought us to this position today, where you have elected Democrat officials across the country who are encouraging left-wing agitators and crazy people to go out and unlawfully obstruct lawful immigration enforcement. Again, these brave men and women of ICE and Border Patrol and the federal enforcement are just trying to do their jobs to enforce our nation's immigration laws and to go after the worst of the worst in this country. I would encourage everyone in this room, and I would encourage the Arizona Attorney General to look at the video of an ICE agent in Minneapolis. He was approached by left-wing agitators who were honking their horns and were screaming slurs at him, and he rolled down his window and he said, "What are you doing? I am out here trying to catch a child predator, somebody who has convicted crimes against an innocent child, and you are trying to obstruct me from doing my job." This rhetoric against ICE, comparing them to Nazi Gestapo, Donald Trump's police force, is despicable, it is shameful, and it is precisely what has led to the escalation of tensions in Minneapolis and in other places across the country.
Minnesota has emerged as a focal point of the unrest. Demonstrations have erupted in Minneapolis following federal immigration operations carried out under the Trump administration's Operation Metro Surge.
The homicide that was perpetrated on her by ICE, by a federal agent of ICE, that stands as a threat to all of us. I feel compelled to be out here standing up for her, standing up for us, standing up for the least of us who can't be out here shouting and protesting.
You're not behaving legally, you're not behaving morally, you're not doing police work the way it's supposed to be done, you're not protecting the citizens, you're creating more problems and chaos.
Should there be an investigation?
Of course there should be. They're stopping the investigation as much as they can, but if enough of us scream and yell, maybe someone will listen and start to do something.
Meanwhile, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, a Democrat who has criticized the deployment of large numbers of federal immigration agents to his state, held a phone call with President Trump on Monday. He continues to criticize the move along with other Democrats.
This morning we learned that an ICE officer shot and killed someone in Minneapolis. My deepest condolences to the family, to the loved ones who had to learn about this tragic event on national television. We have been warning for weeks that the Trump administration's dangerous, sensationalized operations are a threat to our public safety, that someone was going to get hurt. Just yesterday, I said exactly that. What we're seeing is the consequences of governance designed to generate fear, headlines, and conflict. It's governing by reality TV. And today that recklessness cost someone their life. I've reached out to Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, and I'm waiting to hear back. Let me be clear. Donald Trump and his administration may not care much about Minnesota. That's been pretty evident. But we love this state. We won't let them tear us apart. We'll not turn against each other. To Minnesotans, I say this. I feel your anger. I'm angry. They want a show. We can't give it to them. We cannot. If you protest and express your First Amendment rights, please do so peacefully, as you always do. We can't give them what they want. The hearts and minds of the people in this state are on our side. To Americans, I ask you this. Please stand with Minneapolis. To Minnesotans, know that our administration is going to stop at nothing to seek accountability and justice. The State Bureau of Criminal Apprehension are working on the investigation. We have activated the State Emergency Operations Center. State Patrol and Minnesota National Guard leadership is connected with the Minneapolis Police Department, the St. Paul Police Department, Hennepin County Sheriff's Office, the DNR, and Minnesota's Homeland Security and Emergency Management. We have activated dozens of members of the State Patrol's mobile response team. And from here on, I have a very simple message. We do not need any further help from the federal government. To Donald Trump and Kristi Noem, you've done enough. There's nothing more important than Minnesotan safety. I've issued a warning order to prepare the Minnesota National Guard. We have soldiers in training and prepared to be deployed if necessary. I remind you, a warning order is a heads up for folks. And these National Guard troops are our National Guard troops. They're teachers in your community. They're business owners. They're construction professionals. They are Minnesotans. Minnesota will not allow our community to be used as a prop in a national political fight. We will not take the bait. We will continue to update you, Minnesota, as we get more information. And to Minnesotans on this about the National Guard, they're there to protect you and protect your constitutional rights. These are our neighbors. They don't wear masks. They don't bust in from somewhere else. They're not here to cause hassles to you or what we saw today, the tragedy. Having them at the ready to make sure, because when we see these types of things happen, and we saw it after the murder of George Floyd, there's folks that want to cause chaos. There's the disruptors in it. And while the vast majority of those protests were peaceful expressions of their First Amendment rights, there were those that destroyed property and put people at risk. The National Guard is there to make sure that peaceful protests are able to be done, and that those that want to do the destruction are stopped from doing that. Yes? Yeah. Yeah, and I think apparently by a federal agent, not by Minnesotans who were there to express their First Amendment rights. I think we've seen this to have folks ready. The gatherings that were down there today, I think this shocked everyone. People showed up as they should. There's people putting flowers down on a memorial. There's people expressing their anger. It's just as these situations develop, we decide when we need to move these people out. And I think the local reporters know well on this. Both unfortunately and for us, the upside of this is that we're very good and we've had practice at this. And I just want to, again, implore Minnesotans, I am not telling you not to express your anger or your frustrations or the outrage that we have. Look, this was totally predictable, as I said it yesterday, and it was totally avoidable. And I just want to remind you, too, that local law enforcement, we get no coordination. They don't tell us they're coming. They don't say why they're sending the largest deployment in American history to Minneapolis. They're not making us any safer. We don't have any of that coordination. They should be talking to us when we do these things. Let us know. We're going to be down here. This is going to happen. We don't have that. So when you see local law enforcement or state patrol, or if it would take the National Guard, we're there responding to the chaos they've created too, but our role is to make sure that we're protecting Minnesotans so that something like this doesn't happen.